everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you guys one of the first, if not main, most important step to budgeting in case any of you guys are struggling to start, you guys don't know where to go, which route to take, and are kind of overwhelmed with the process. So today I wanted to share with you guys what my first step was in starting a budget, which, as you can tell by the title, is looking at previous purchases or expenses, and you can do so by looking at your previous bank statements. Now, I recommend starting from January from the previous year, but if you're just starting out and that seems way too overwhelming, you can even just do it the previous month. However, the longer you go back, the more accurate it's going to be, because you're going to be able to see the most reoccurring purchases and expenses, and therefore you'll be able to really tell how much you spent on gas within the last month on an average, or how much you spent on groceries versus just, maybe a month or two when there were certain circumstances that may have affected it. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is the bank statement, kind of like mine. This is a little bit of a mock-up budget. So not all the purchases are exact, not all the places are exact, just for privacy reasons. And obviously it would be very hard to get all my numbers to be exact. So you can tell it's not a real true statement, but it gives you the essentials. You have your date, you have your category or information about the expense or where you've spent it. You have your withdrawal amount and your deposit amount, and then the remaining balance after that. And so what I did is I went through month by month from January to December, and I figured out what and where I spent my money on. And so what I recommend you to do is get some markers or highlighters. I use highlighters, but if you don't have enough colors, you can use markers, different colored pens, whatever you want to use, and start categorizing everything. Sorry, my highlighters were a little bit noisy. And so at the top, what I would do is, if you have enough room, or if you have another piece of paper, maybe you do it that way, but create a key. So I know for a fact that I always spend money on food. And this is like groceries, this is not takeout. And then I do know for a fact I spend money on gifts. This is not a sinking fund. Well, it is now, but I'm gonna say back when, let's pretend this is not. I'm just starting budgeting, so I have not set up sinking funds. And then I'm gonna put green for spending. And that's just for pretty much anything for me that's not essential, not bills. Just like if I were wanting to go get some clothes at Nordstrom or Macy's, that would be considered spending. And then another item I always know I'm gonna be spending on is gas. And I know this is gonna be hard to see, so I'm gonna go over this with black pen in just a second. Sorry guys, I'm gonna move this down. Okay, make sure you guys can see that. I'm still testing out my new camera mounts, and so right now my problem is that it's sliding. So please forgive me if it is doing that right now. Hopefully I will be able to figure out this mount more and figure out how to prevent that. Okay, so the next thing I usually spend monthly is medical, whether it's copay, tests. That's just something that I spend on because of my health. And then last thing, I usually spend takeout. Now, obviously, that is not all the categories. I'm gonna move down here, but just know there may be more. You may have fewer expenses. You may have movies or concerts. or just any other way of entertainment. You can have household, so that could be separate from groceries or food. You can do sinking funds. And you can also highlight or color in income and bills. I think the main thing right now to track is variable expenses, because you want to try to cut those expenses down. And so I'm just going to go through and highlight which each transaction and figure out what category they belong into. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Let's just go by color. So I'm going to start with food, and you can see the first one, I'm going to tilt this a little bit, is June 3rd. And I spent $55. And I believe that is it. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to move on to gifts. So if I remember correctly, last year in June I had a graduation, and so I got some things from Tilly's for that person, and then I got a card at Hallmark, and then Amazon, I believe I got that for Father's Day, and I think that's it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Okay, now spending, I'm sure I'm gonna have quite a few of those. So Target, I know I spent, I think I got some decor that month. I also went to Michael's. Always loved Michael's for DIY and decor. Let's see. What else? Target again. Pier 1, and then an ebook from Amazon. Let's see, Amazon again. See, I go through Amazon so much that just looking at the purchases, half the time I don't even remember what I got. Alright, making sure you guys are still in frame. I'm gonna move this up. And let's see, we have some more bills. Barnes & Noble, I got an ebook. And then that is all for spending. I'm gonna move this up while I finish this. The next thing is gas. So I can automatically see that the only time I got gas was at the end of the month, and that was for $43. Next thing is medical. This is going to be a lot. Let's see. Doctor's appointment was on June 11th. We have a medical test. Now, last year I had 4 ER visits, so I believe this one was a medical test within the hospital, because for those that may not have had a hospital visit, usually when you go to the ER, you are billed from the doctor, the hospital itself, and then if they have a separate like third-party company for like x-rays or any other testing done. And let's see, this is a hospital bill on the June 24. And I went to actually the ER twice in like 1 month, and so that's why it's really close together. Because usually hospital bills, you know, they don't bill you right away. And then more medical tests. And then another doctor's appointment. And then So when I was referring to different bills within the hospital visit, this is what I mean, because I believe this is probably 2 visits. And so I forgot which one. This was probably the actual hospital charging me for, you know, what they did. This is probably for chest x-ray or ultrasound, things like that. And then this is obviously a copay. And then this one, I honestly don't remember what the $35 hospital bill was. And then we have the last one is June 28th, and that was a medical test. Okay, so that's what it's looking at like right now. And then I have one more left, and that is takeout. And this was a very busy time last year, so I was going to get fast food more than usual, I would say, after work. Especially working late hours, I would be more tempted to go to a drive-thru after work instead of going home and cooking something. Okay, so you can see now that's left is bills and income. So what I'm going to do is, just so you can see income and bills, I'm going to see, the income is really easy to spot, so this is all my actual bills. And this may have ruined the look for you guys, but then that's pretty much it. So then what I would do, once you're done highlighting or categorizing all your expenses, is figure out how much you spent. So that's all the totals. So you can already see that the 2 most spent categories was medical and spending. Now medical, it's hard to really plan for that, but if you save for it, maybe add a sinking fund, that will kind of help eliminate costs. And then spending, that is the key category I spend in. So then based off of that, I would figure out, okay, what is a reasonable amount to set aside for budgeting. So I know I got some decor, I may have got some miscellaneous things, maybe some just a whole bunch of random stuff. So I need to give myself a budget and stick to $100. Now, also depends on how much money you're making, because say you feel like that may not be enough, but you have more room in your budget with your income, you can go ahead and raise that up. But this is definitely going to help you figure out where you're spending your money and where you think it should be going, if it needs to be moved around. And this is just going to make you also more aware of where you're spending it, in the sense of, oh, you know what, I already went to Chick-fil-A, Pinkberry, and Taco Bell within like 1 week, so I think that's too much. Give yourself some wiggle room, you know, don't give yourself $0, because that's just gonna, you're not gonna be happy with that, and you're probably gonna end up spending stuff in the long run. So give yourself a reasonable budget, take a look at multiple statements if you can, that's not too overwhelming. Like I said, if it's too overwhelming for you, just start off with the previous month, figure out your groceries, gifts, spending, gas, medical, takeout, or whatever categories that you would use, and then use that for the next month. Maybe you've realized that you spent $200 in groceries and really you think you'd only need to spend $100, at least that going forward, you can write down or make yourself aware of only spending $100. So if you want to break that down weekly or bi-weekly, whatever you want to do. But honestly, this is what saved my budget. Because then from there on, I realized, okay, you know what? I'm not putting the money in the right spots. And so once I did this, then that's when I brought in every dollar and figured out how much I wanted to try to budget for food, budget for spending, budget for gas, everything like that. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this has helped you guys. I know budgeting can be a very overwhelming thing, especially if you've never started before. And so hopefully this makes it a little bit easier. Figuring out your expenses each month and categorizing them is definitely what I would recommend to do first. So hopefully that has been helpful for you guys. If you did find this helpful or you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to hit the like button. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you do so you can see more budgeting videos like this in the future. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for watching, and shout out to all my new subscribers. Thank you so much. I know I do not have a lot, but you know what? It just makes me happy to know that people are wanting to support me in my journey in debt-free in the process. And so I just want to say I appreciate all of you guys, and I thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.